What happens if we run a mixed test now? Okay. No complaints there. Let's see what's in the test. We've been light on testing. Test. Spaces test. Okay, you can update spaces. Alright, how about creating a basic entity test? Create entity for space. So the space is the space fixture, and then we do spaces, add entity with broadcast, give it the space. The kind of entity will be a box, and then you can check spaces, get all entities for space. And space ID, entities, and you can assert that the length of entities is greater than 0. Next test. Still good. In the beginning, you could assert that it is equal to 0. Okay. And is there a method that gets entities with components? List entities for space with components. So now let's get so let's update a component. Update component for entity. Again, we'll create this space. And we'll get spaces list entities for space with the components. Get the space ID. You'll get a list of entities. And component can be entities, components. Grab the first one. List up first. And get the type equals component type. And spaces. So, and this entity, it always sorts them, right? It sorts. It doesn't sort them. Grabs the entities and then it preloads components. Are we doing any other preload? Preload component. Preload component. Oh, here we go. think we want this. Order by the type. So we'll do that for this one as well. Repo, preload components from component order. Okay, so that'll sort them. Just always have them sorted. What's the deal here? Component schema, define. Okay, so that's satisfied. Back to our test. So position, rotation scale, color should be first. Assuming entities is box. Oh, we need to create a box. So spaces dot add entity with broadcast on the space box. So the component type should be color. So grab the first entity. It's the only entity. Actually, we don't need components. Just get you can just do repo all as well. Well, okay, spaces get list entities. I'll get all entities for a space ID. This gives you entities, and entity equal list first. Do this entity list first. Once you have the entity, you can do spaces modify component with broadcast. So you have the space, the entity ID, and the type. Color is the one we want to modify, and the data will be value string, and let's go with 0, 0, 0, 0, F. And then if we grab any component, spaces get, or maybe we do what does this return? This returns blah, 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 blah. It will return broadcast. Give it OK and the component. Else error or whatever value. Just get that back. Again, else clause will never match because all patterns in width will always match. Else clause will never match. So maybe I'm using something. No. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't really understand what it's telling me, but let's move on. So, modify the component, and we want to test that it was persisted. So let's just grab components equal all component. We import this. We have access to repo. And the component will be, oh no, they'll have several components. We want to do get by component, and the type is color. That should give you how many? Fetches a single result. And then it tells you assert that component data should equal, well, it should match this, right? Okay, modified it a bit. Component data, how about value? Should equal that. Alright, so we're able to set that, and then let's test delete an entity. So here, create an entity. Now spaces, how about delete entity, and it requires an entity. Delete entity, and we can delete an entity with just I think we just need an entity ID. Right? So we add it, we delete it, and then if we get all the entries for the space. It should equal an empty array. Tempted to apply an ID on OK. Oh, this is OK. Wait. Add entity with a broadcast. Yeah, it gives you OK and entity. How did this work up here? Oh. We didn't take the return value of it. Okay, so this is OK and entity. Let's try this again. Compilation error. Error before entity. 88. Oh, missing a comma. Okay, so we can delete as well. So with these context methods, I can reduce some of this. Spaces to the, okay, already using that. Alright, we'll figure out how to use them in the next video.